I'm Elizabeth at A Literary Princess, and today I am doing a currently reading video. So I'm currently reading 4 books, but I am actually going to be not finishing one of them. So I will talk about that one first, and let's go from there. The one that I am not finishing was actually supposed to be my fun read for the month. Oops. And this is From Hell by Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell. This is a graphic novel that is speculating on the Jack the Ripper case. So it is historical fiction. It is opting to go with a person who had been potentially a suspect as the Ripper, but that theory has since been disproven. But it's kind of looking at, okay, if he was, how would that have happened? I don't know. First of all, this is long. I'm not actually sure how many pages it is because each chapter has its own page numbers, which is kind of neat because I think it was serialized originally. I will say though, this title page, A Melodrama in 16 Parts, is possibly one of the most Victorian things I've ever read in my life. So I don't know what's not working about this for me. I started it last night, which was Sunday. I'm filming this on a Monday. And I got 2 chapters in maybe, and I just wasn't liking it. I was having a hard time telling apart the different characters. There's a lot of jumping around in time, which I usually don't mind, but when you can't tell the characters apart, I don't know. And it's also so many of the, especially at the beginning, the panels are all set up in the exact same way. Like, it's just been this over and over again, which gets kind of boring for me, I guess, as somebody who has read a lot of different graphic novels. It's also very sexual, which I wasn't quite expecting. Like, I expected violence, but I didn't expect as much sex as there was right at the beginning, which I don't know, like, isn't usually something that bothers me, but I don't know. It wasn't working for me. And so this is clearly not the right time for me to be reading this. So I am returning it to my university library, which is where I got it from. And I mean, maybe I'll go back to it at some point, but I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I did look up the plot on Wikipedia just to see. I was like, is this really worth me slugging through however many hundreds of pages this is? And I looked up the plot and I don't know. Just reading through it, I was like, I find that very improbable. I would have a very difficult time suspending my disbelief to be like, yes, this is how Jack the Ripper murders went down. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll come back to it, but I'm definitely putting it down for now. All right, next up for my exam readings for the long 19th century. This is The Rime of the Ancient Mariner and Other Poems by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So I have really only read The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by him. So I have read the first few poems in here, To the Author of The Robbers, a sonnet to a friend who asked how I felt when the nurse first presented my infant to me. That was actually lovely. I loved that one. This Lime Tree Bower, My Prison. I'm not gonna lie, I skimmed that one very heavily. The Dungeon, and then I started The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which starts on page 5 of this book, so I clearly have not gotten very far. And I don't know, I was reading it last night and I was like, I really need to read this out loud, and my husband was trying to watch a YouTube video, so I was like, okay, I'll wait. I've read The Rime of the Ancient Mariner multiple times at this point, and actually it's a poem that I like, but I do think it works best as read out loud. Most poetry does. So I'm gonna work on that today. I'm hoping to finish this on Tuesday, which is the day that this video is going up. So I might be done with it by the time this video goes up. But yeah, I really like that sonnet about his infant son. I know I'll like The Rime of the Ancient Mariner because I've read it before. And I have no idea what else I'll think of it. Next up, more poetry, and one that I'm not reading in full. This is The Pre-Raphaelites from Rossetti to Ruskin. I am just reading Christina Rossetti and Dante Gabriel Rossetti out of this. I started Christina Rossetti's poems last night, and I like Christina Rossetti a lot. So I read the first several in here, one of which is Goblin Market, which is quite long. So Dreamland, An End, A Pause of Thought, Sweet Death, Goblin Market, and then A Birthday, and After Death. And there's still quite a few more to go. And then, well, not quite a few more. And I also, because this collection does not include No Thank You, John, which is a travesty because that poem is fantastic. I had to go and look that up on the internet and read it myself again because a woman rejecting a proposal is basically the best thing to ever happen in any literature. And the fact that it's a dramatic monologue poem, it's just great. It's great, and it should have been in here. But anyway, so I will definitely finish Christina's poems today and then move on to Dante Gabriel, who has a lot more poems than Christina does in here, I will say. Yeah, his On the Table of Contents literally takes up a page and a half, and Christina Rossetti gets like a half of a page on the Table of Contents, so. But yeah, so I have enjoyed this so far. Love rereading Goblin Market. That's another one that I think is best read out loud, but I was able to do it in my head and have it still work and not be bothering my husband as he tried to watch TV. But yeah, enjoying that. Then last up is a novel, because like none of these are regular novels. Who am I? This is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I am teaching this next semester as part of the Modernism unit of my British Literature 3 course. So I'm picking a novel from each era, and this is the one that I have picked. I've actually not started reading the novel yet. I have read the introduction, which was quite interesting and quite useful. It was written by Elaine Showalter, who wrote the very important piece of feminist literary theory, A Literature of Their Own. And so I've heard her thoughts on Virginia Woolf before because there is a whole chapter on Virginia Woolf in A Literature of Their Own, but it was interesting to see her thoughts on just this one novel. And she talked about some of the different themes in here, and it really cemented my decision that this is a novel I'm teaching, because it is dealing with a lot of like the major themes that I am trying to get across to my class for the modernist period. So the trauma of World War I, obviously we have Septimus Smith in here, who is a war veteran suffering from PTSD, or shell shock as they called it. Then there is also a look at sexuality, which was something that really came to the forefront in this period with Freud and all that. And then there was one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and what was it? I don't remember. Oh, obviously, stream of consciousness, which is the mode that this novel is written in. So those are kind of the major themes that I want my students to get out of this unit, and they're all displayed very well in here. The other thing we are going to be looking at is the woman question, which I think is in here as well. So that's good, but not as prominently as maybe other Virginia Woolf pieces, but I will be having them read parts of A Room of One's Own as well. So that will be covered there. But yeah, so I read the introduction to this last night. I'm going to start the actual novel today. I did read this before and I didn't like it. I actually gave it 2 stars. So I'm hoping that I like it more this time. I will say breaking it up into sections to read with the class is super hard, because I had forgotten this, but there's actually no chapter breaks in this novel. Like, it's just one thing, and there are, like, you know, the breaks where there's the blank line, and then we have a new thing that we kind of start. So I had to kind of go through and find those, but yeah, there's no actual chapters, which I suppose works because the book takes place over the course of one day, but it makes it hard to break up to teach with my class. So I have put it into 3 potential chunks, and hopefully those will work and I will not need to figure that out again. So those are the books that I am currently reading right now, including one that I will no longer be reading. Let me know down in the comments below, have you read any of these? What did you think? What are you currently reading? It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.